This is really hard to narrow down to just 20, so I do have a letterbox where I made 100 horror movie staples list, so go check that out if you want more. But if I had to pick 20 horror movies to watch, this would be them. And I know you said back to the 70s, but I'm going back to the 30s, babe. Because you have to start with the foundations of horror itself, which I think is Dracula from 1931 and Frankenstein also from 1931. These two paved the way. They are both absolute must-sees. After that, I'm jumping to 1960 with Psycho, which is my personal favorite horror movie of all time. Without Psycho, we simply would not have horror as we know it, period. It's a must-watch. Next, I would say the 1968 Night of the Living Dead. This is like the first zombie movie to really come on the scene, and it's inspired every single zombie movie that has come out since. Like, all the rules and the lore behind the zombies in this movie are still used in zombie movies today. Next, I would say The Exorcist. This movie single-handedly traumatized an entire generation, and even though it never personally scared me, I think this is the scariest movie ever made. Next, I have the 1974 Black Christmas. This is really like one of the first slashers. And I know people say that Laurie Strode is the first final girl, but Jess Bradford is the first final girl. This one's a staple. And without this movie, we actually wouldn't even have the movie Halloween. Next is the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, one of the greatest and just simply most perfect movies ever made. This one really shows the pure grit of 1970s cinema. Next is Jaws, the movie that still has me traumatized to go in the water. I feel like everybody on Earth has seen Jaws. You need to see Jaws. Next is Halloween. Yes, this might not be the first slasher or the first final girl, but is it the most iconic? Maybe. This one is worth watching for the music and the score alone. Like, this movie is proof that a score can greatly improve the tension in a movie. Next, I have Alien. I honestly am not a crazy fan of the Alien franchise, but this is a staple that you absolutely need to see. This movie is kind of like the golden standard for sci-fi horror. Next, I have The Shining, and The Shining is a movie that I'm not necessarily a fan of. I prefer the book far more, but it absolutely deserves its place on this list and in horror cinema, period. And I feel like this is the most referenced movie in any other horror movie. Like, there is a reference of The Shining in almost every fucking horror movie ever made, I swear. It feels that way. Next, I have The Thing, because I feel like this one is like the creature feature of all creature features. And this is another one that is so iconic. It is referenced in so many movies. Next, I have A Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger, the greatest slasher since Michael Myers. Freddy is my personal favorite slasher, so of course this one has to be on the list. Also, speaking of personal favorites, this one might be a little biased of me, but The Lost Boys. I feel like this movie just captures the essence of what a vampire movie should be. It's my personal favorite vampire movie of all time. I love this movie so much. I think everybody needs to see it. Getting into the 90s, we have Scream, which is my personal favorite franchise of all time. Ghostface is such a cultural icon. Everybody needs to see this movie and see where he got his start. This one might be debated, but I would put the Blair Witch Project on here simply because like every found footage movie that came after this pulled inspiration from Blair Witch. So I feel like if there is one found footage movie you need to watch, it has to be Blair Witch because it's like the foundation for found footage. Next, I have The Descent. This movie is just a master class in creating a claustrophobic atmosphere. And yes, of course, part of that has to do with the fact that they are stuck in a cave, but even without that, this movie is just suffocating. It's legendary. I love this movie. Next, I have The Strangers because I think that this is the greatest home invasion movie ever made. Like, 'cause you were home, that line traumatized a whole generation of people and like still makes everybody scared to be home alone. Next, I have Insidious, and I say this one because I feel like by 2010, for the past few years, like there had kind of been a lull in horror, and Insidious single-handedly revitalized that and brought it back. Like, it brought horror back. And finally, I have Get Out. I feel like this is the most culturally significant movie possibly ever, but definitely in the 21st century. And it's just incredibly important to the genre, but just to like society as a whole, and it's fucking phenomenal.